Hello, Madam Co-Chair.
What's going on, Brother Co-Chair?
Where's all the signage?
Don't you usually put that up?
I have, but I'm like, it's not in any of the usual places. And there's usually reserved parking over there. There's no bar.
There's no bar. There's no greeters here. Is this supposed to be a surprise on us? I just wonder.
Is somebody playing a joke?
Yeah, they
Somebody's playing a joke on
us. I see it's on 10, 10, 20, 20, right? There's a sign on the door. Let's go check.
Doors are locked. Where is everybody?
I see some folks, but I don't think they see us.
Huh. I guess we should go around side.
Yeah, let's try that first.
Hi. While Wendy and Gary make it to the building, let's talk about interpretation today. My name is Viviana Marzano. I will be the interpreter tonight. In order to provide language access, we will be offering interpretation into Spanish. Hola. Mientras Gary y Wendy tratan de entrar al edificio, hablemos de la interpretación. Yo soy Viviana Marzano y voy a ser la intérprete esta noche. Acá van las instrucciones. Para darles acceso lingüístico, vamos a ofrecer interpretación al español. El personal del fondo va a escribir las instrucciones en el chat. Okay, now that we are done with this, let's see if Wendy and Gary made it into the building. Okay, ahora que terminamos con las instrucciones, vamos a ver si Wendy y Gary pudieron entrar al edificio. Thank you, gracias.
Whew. We did have the right day.
We did. I need a little bit more preparation, Gary. You don't have to worry about the hair, so just give me a minute. Whew, we did. Whew. So, you ready to get into some good trouble?
Oh, definitely.
All right, let's get this show started.
Live from Bread and Roses, it's Saturday night.
Hello all, my name is Wendy Sims Moten. My good friend Gary Clark and I are honored to be your co-chairs and MCs tonight. However, before we formally begin our celebration, we need to take care of some virtual housekeeping. Gary?
Thanks, Wendy. Consistent with the Fund's commitment to language access, today's Spanish interpretation is provided by longtime friend and supporter of the Fund, Viviana Marzano. Thank you, Viviana. And our ASL interpreter is Joe Black, also a longtime friend of the Fund and a former grant-making committee member. Thank you, Joe.
We also want to thank all who participated in our silent auction. Congrats to the winners. If you won an auction item, it'll show up in the cart in the upper right-hand corner, and you can make your total contribution at the end of the evening. And to everyone, please feel free to donate at any time. And old school handwritten checks mailed to the fund are just fine.
They certainly are. We are so lucky to be streaming live from Q80 headquarters here in Summerland, our beautiful Bread and Roses home since 2008. Thank you, Q80, for helping us maintain a sense of place and a small piece of normalcy. And while there are only a few of us here in person due to safety precautions, we are grateful that there are so many of you tuning in from throughout Santa Barbara County and beyond. As a way to keep us connected, please feel free to tag the Fund for Santa Barbara in your social media posts, sharing pictures of where you are. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you have trouble staying connected to the event tonight, please feel free to use the link on any of your personal electronic devices, even from your phone. But be sure to register so that you can participate in the cash auction.
Now, in respect for the indigenous people of our region, we'd like to ask the Fund's Executive Director, Marcos Vargas, to share an acknowledgement of the land and its indigenous stewards.
Before we formally begin our program today, the Fund would like to acknowledge the first peoples and caregivers of the land that we're on, the Chumash people. Here on the California Central Coast, the Chumash are important members of our community. Yet, as with all Native people of North America, they continue to struggle for their own cultural, economic, and political self-determination. The Chumash are a people who continue to live on occupied land that was taken from them by force through a well-documented and shameful government-sanctioned mass genocide. Native peoples in U.S. continue to experience high levels of poverty and unemployment, and today, the highest rates of COVID-19 deaths. Nonetheless, Chumash leaders, along with Native leaders from throughout North America and Indigenous people throughout the world, continue to prioritize their connection to the land. Indigenous leaders are at the forefront of the fight to protect our land and our water, a fight they engage in on behalf of all of us as inhabitants of Mother Earth. This coming October 12th, we recognize Indigenous Peoples Day. Adopting and celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day is a way to publicly acknowledge the many injustices suffered by Native people in North America for over 500 years, as well as the opportunity for us to learn from the wisdom of the Indigenous people who have always known that all life is connected. Today, as we virtually enjoy this beautiful space overlooking the Pacific Ocean, let us keep in our minds and our hearts a deep love and respect for the earth, for the Chumash people, and for all Indigenous people around the world. And as we celebrate and support the social justice work of the Fund for Santa Barbara, let us recognize the role we all play in protecting Mother Earth and in defending the human rights of her first original people. Aho me takuiasi.
Thank you, Marcos. On behalf of the Fund for Santa Barbara Board, staff, Grant Making Committee, Youth Making Change boards North and South, as well as all our volunteers, welcome to Bread and Roses. After almost a dozen years on staff at the Fund, I'm truly honored to serve as co-chair, especially alongside my fellow activist and First Five Executive Director, as well as current board member of the Santa Barbara Unified School District, Wendy Sims Moten.
Thank you. Once you're in the fund, you never leave the fund.
It's true, very true. Although this is our 27th year for Bread and Roses, what's truly special this year is that the fund is 40 years bold. And I don't think a single one of our guests is shy. Thanks to them and all of you for joining us. It's grounding and reassuring to be in community with you all. Wendy and I are so lucky to be here at QAD, but we're curious about where all of you are.
Hi everybody, this is Eder. I'm live streaming from Santa Barbara. On behalf of Future Leaders, thank you for all the hard work you do.
We're joining you from Lombok. Happy 40th anniversary!
Hello. Hi. Live from Santa Maria. Woo! Thank you all. We miss being there. We're sorry we can't be all together, but thrilled that we could do this virtual thing. And we're gonna have lots of fun. And on the bright side, our carbon footprint is significantly smaller. But thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to a great show. And happy 40th to the Fund for Santa Barbara from Santa Maria.
Hello, everyone. We also heard there's a good number of folks outside the Central Coast, including LA, the Central Valley, the Bay Area, and even New York.
It's definitely Saturday night there.
Somewhere, right? Maybe even Saturday morning. Goes to show how important this event is to our progressive community. Even a pandemic doesn't stop us. And each year has provided us with the opportunity to celebrate our progressive community and to come together to recommit ourselves to doing all we can to advance the progressive change. Actions particularly important in these challenging times.
Indeed, Wendy. This event gives us all an opportunity to play a role in supporting movements for progressive social change. And we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the vision and commitment of Gail Goldberg and Wendy Kaut. Thank you, Gail and Wendy. It's traditions like this one that are so greatly needed in times like these. I'm particularly grateful to the Fund for Santa Barbara staff and board and volunteers for making sure that we are all here today, right now. Now, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence in honor of all of those folks we've lost to COVID, over 1 million globally.
Again, thank you all for being with us here today. All of you make the important social change work of the fund possible. One of the beauties of Bread and Roses is that it allows us not to only come together to celebrate the impactful work of the fund, but also the opportunity to show how incredibly generous we are as a progressive community. While this year we won't have a live auction, we are honored to have our amazing State Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, a longtime champion of our work, lead our Donate Now in just a few minutes. So get your virtual wallets or your checkbook ready. Also, further along in the program, we will be giving away a wonderful prize to one lucky winner who answers a trivia question. So stay tuned.
We want to thank some special folks right now. Again, thanks to QAD, who are our hosts for the last 11 years. We really appreciate it. As well as to West Beach Film Productions, who are producing this event for us. Thank you.
And much gratitude to our restaurants and beverage sponsors, volunteers, and our own hardworking fund staff. Thank you all. And of course, thank you for being a sponsor or purchasing a ticket. I hope you not only enjoyed today's program, but also your glasses of wine and your lapel pins.
Now, in celebration of 40 years of the fund's bold and progressive work, enjoy this short film.
I often describe the world as beautiful and heartbreaking, right? We live in a beautiful and heartbreaking world.
I mean, all of us are living during really historic times, times of crisis, times when it feels like our world is on fire. And so we're really at a crossroads, globally down to our local community level.
While there's an image of the Central Coast as being wealthy and elite, the fact of the matter is there's hunger here, there's poverty here, and there are issues of extreme environmental injustices.
Oftentimes there are, agencies and foundations with all good intent to do the right thing, but we don't really hear from the folks who are most closely impacted.
There are a lot of people doing great work on their particular issues, but they don't necessarily cross-pollinate.
People don't live single-issue lives. So if you're not coming at the work from an intersectional perspective, if you don't understand that disability justice is social justice, racial justice is social justice, economic justice is social justice, and the ways that all those things interconnect, you're not really doing the work in a holistic way.
The only way to address these issues is to come together and work collaboratively.
Philanthropy needs to be a community effort rather than just the few top 1%.
The fund's design was always about connecting philanthropy with folks who are directly affected by issues.
The fund is really based on the idea that people know their own challenges best, and therefore the solutions need to come from people that are experiencing whatever that issue is.
We were looking for people who were active themselves, who had knowledge of the issues that we were concerned about, and yet were willing to work beyond their individual issues.
So unlike other foundations, in the case of the fund, the grant making is led by grassroots community leaders who are part of our grant making committee.
Here you have grassroots advocates deciding how our dollars are going to be spent.
You're actually going to the community, hearing from the community who is impacted. You don't really know the story until you really see the folks who are doing the work quietly.
These are people who are seeing injustice in their lives and trying to figure out how to make a difference, and the fund is there to say, hey, here's some tools, here's some community, here's some resources. Do you need some seed money to get that idea up off the ground?
What they fund and what they support, it's about who we are, what we struggle for. It didn't feel like they were just supporting our work, but they were with us.
There's this palpable feeling to the fund, and that the activists that we support often can envision hundreds and hundreds of people standing behind them because of the fund's community.
A lot of their work is dedicated to building relationships, bringing organizations and the community together. It really is that unity that really drives progressive change.
Now you have a trusted voice to say, how do we elevate, how do we bring you together?
I really appreciate the role that the fund plays, not just within our local nonprofit movement ecosystem, but within our funder ecosystem in the Central Coast. And it actually helps move a lot of our local foundations to think about social justice, to think about root causes.
We take care of each other. It is who we are as a community. And it can't be just in a moment. It has to be lasting. It has to be all the time.
I hope that the fund enjoys 25 more years of success and visibility and good work.
I really want the next generation to grow up in a different world than we did. I envision a world that's connected to abolition and justice and human rights. And I really resonate with the work that the fund supports in that aim.
We envision
a region that is environmentally, economically, and politically interconnected,
where we understand and appreciate our interdependencies,
our differences,
and our mutual responsibilities.
A region where power and resources are distributed equitably,
empowering everyone to participate in making decisions that affect them.
A community free of exploitation and oppression.
One marked by optimism, joyous struggle,
a spirit of problem solving,
and a sense of belonging.
A community that encourages risk and innovation in the service of justice.
A collection of communities, each proud of its own identity.
And committed to sharing a common destiny.
Join us.
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 What incredible videos we've seen in this short time, and there will be more coming. Again, thank you, Cage Free Productions. From the video, you can see that the fund uses a number of very effective tools from its toolbox to achieve its progressive social change mission. This includes the fund's responsive grant-making program, which I am especially familiar with and very dear to my heart, having served on the fund grant-making committee for 6 years and at one point co-chairing the committee. What an insightful experience that was. To share a little bit more about the fund's unique responsive grant-making committee program is Maria Garcia Cacique, the current grant-making committee's liaison to the fund's board.
Thank you, Gary and Wendy, and thank you, our supporters, for joining us today. My name is Maria, and I am a member of the Fund for Santa Barbara's grant-making committee. The fund's work continues to make a difference after 40 years. Because it is rooted in our slogan, change, not charity, but also because our funding decisions are autonomously led by our grant-making committee. The grant-making committee is made up of 15 to 19 diverse community activists. Each commits to reviewing upwards of 40 to 50 proposals for each of our 2 single-year grant cycles. In addition, they also review proposals for our emergent needs and our multi-year grants. The GMC uses our funding guidelines and priorities to make final funding decisions. They prioritize grassroots organizations whose projects build on the larger movement building strategies. This is what makes the Fund for Santa Barbara unique, our from, by, and for the community process that authentically centers the people most impacted in the fight for social justice. Knowing that grassroots organizing is essential in developing ideas into actions and in time build movements for change, the fund offers more than grants. We provide grantees with capacity building support through workshops, one-to-one consulting, specific resources such as community calendar, and a network of people from impressive alumni to former grantees. For me, the best part about being a member of the grant-making committee is participating in the site visits. This part of our grant-making process is where we sit with potential grantees and learn in detail about how they are addressing the needs in their communities. Through these site visits, I've learned so much, especially about the many needs in our neighboring communities, like those of the beautiful Cuyama Valley. Witnessing the change that they are able to make over time and with limited resources is rewarding and inspiring. Though I've passed through the valley, I never knew about Quail Springs permaculture and their work in providing local youth with the knowledge and skills they need to be leaders of their communities. I had also never visited the Blue Sky Center to witness how they implement the Cuyama Healthy Foods Initiative and how they get youth involved in creating and making better food choices. During my visit, I also got to try their delicious locally grown and prepared foods. On my journey with the fund, I also met the great people at the Family Resource Center who work tirelessly to make connections, extend their networks, and create space for leadership development for youth and adults alike. We are honored to fund and partner with all of these amazing organizations. We thank them for the tireless efforts they put into creating change in their community. I've had the honor of being part of the Volunteer Grant-Making Committee for the past 6 years, and this fall will be the last cycle with the GMC. I will miss our rich discussions during deliberations and the friends that I have made over the years. This experience makes me hopeful for a better and more just future for all of us, especially as I see the youth of our communities in action. The fund cannot do this work without you, our community of supporters. What started out as an experiment 40 years ago has flourished into a change agent thanks to your support. We look forward to the next 40 years. Now, our inspiring Youth Making Change facilitators will talk about the work they are doing.
Hi, my name is Jolene Velasco. I'm 16 years old and I go to Rigetti High School. This is my second year participating in YMC, and along with Ashante, we are this year's North County facilitators.
Hi, my name is Ashante Smith and I am 17 years old and I attend Rigetti High School. This is my second year participating in Youth Making Change.
Youth Making Change is a teen-led grant-making program that provides young people with the opportunity to participate in organized philanthropy.
There are two YMC boards. One meets in Santa Maria and the other one meets in Santa Barbara. They're both teen-led from ages 13 to 19. Both boards have $15,000 in grants to give to youth-led projects that impact young lives in Santa Barbara County.
As board members, we create and conduct an entire grant cycle and then share with our communities what we learned as grant makers and philanthropists.
As facilitators, we assist the board in meeting our objectives by providing an experienced perspective on the grant-making process.
Since 2008, YMC has awarded more than $300,000 to over 150 youth-led groups throughout Santa Barbara County.
YMC has given me the chance to make change in my community by improving youth lives. It's made me a better social activist, which has gotten me more involved in the community and given me more connections. Because YMC, I'm also an intern for Truth in Recruitment, which has given me more experience in social and political works. I am grateful for the knowledge, experience, and friendships I've gained from YMC.
For me, YMC has given me the opportunity to become friends with people from different backgrounds and people that are passionate about different facets of social change. My experience has also given me a new perspective on my community and what can be done to improve the lives of members of my community.
Now checking in with our South County facilitators, Ross and Carissa.
Thanks, Ashante and Jolene. My name is Roz, and I am a senior at San Marcos High School. This is my third year participating in YMC.
And my name is Carissa. I'm 18 years old and a senior at Santa Barbara High School. This is my fourth year participating in YMC, and along with Roz, we are both the South County facilitators.
I joined YMC because I wanted to get a better understanding of what was going on in my community, particularly with people who have a different life experience than my own. I also wanted to learn how to make this community better in a real, sustainable way.
I joined YMC to be able to directly impact my community. YMC has helped me find my voice and has taught me how to advocate for myself and others.
This year, we wanted to acknowledge the importance of young people at the center of social change movements. That is why we are excited to present the inaugural Firebrand Award to two inspiring local youth who are emerging as progressive leaders in Santa Barbara County.
Talia Hamilton and Shakira Ahmad have demonstrated a fierce commitment to progressive change and have motivated the youth in our community to stand up and fight for a more just future.
Talia is a senior at San Marcos High School, where she is the president of the Black Student Union. Talia has also advocated to the school board about making Santa Barbara Unified School District more inclusive and safe for students.
Shakir is a junior at San Marcos High School. He is the vice president of the Black Student Union, a varsity basketball player, and a student board representative. Shakir also founded the Keep Your Head Up organization.
Shakir and Talia both played a crucial role in organizing and leading the youth-led Black Lives Matter protest in June, and continue to play a critical role in their community.
Because of their important work and commitment to social change, we are honored and excited to present the first ever Firebrand Award to Shakir and Talia.
In addition to a monetary award that honors the labor that it takes to be leaders in this moment, we are excited to present both recipients with a unique gift.
Hey y'all, I'm Shakir Ahmad.
And I'm Talia Hamilton.
And we'd like to thank the Fund for Santa Barbara for awarding us the first ever Firebrand Award.
We'd also like to thank Rigo Rivera for these amazing commissioned photos of us at our student-led Black Lives Matter protest.
We are truly honored. I'd also like to thank everyone who supported us, because we couldn't have done it alone. So many other people had to use their voice to help spread our message. But there are still injustices happening, and this is a continuous fight. That's why I encourage all of you to keep speaking out against police brutality and racial injustice. In just 5 days, Talia and I organized a protest where we brought together thousands, challenged the school district and the system. If we keep pushing for justice, who knows what else we can accomplish.
Being newly 18, this is my first election, and I went to vote.gov to register to vote, as should you guys. It's super important this year that we have young voters getting out there and doing the research and casting their votes, because these decisions are going to be affecting us in the new election year. And I think it's amazing that, you know, we can all come together as Generation Z and put our voices out there and make some change. And now here's a piece of writing from Shakir.
No matter what we say, no matter what we do, sometimes our words and actions just can't get through to the ones who really need to hear our messages. And to those who keep trying to justify injustices, it's still the same. Another week, another name. Both sides pointing fingers at who is to blame. When it's standing up for human rights becomes so political, because all this nonsensical arguing isn't beneficial. Too many incorrect facts and outdated statistics. Too many biased news outlets, so nobody is realistic. People try to make progress, but the focus is on the negative. So these once beneficial movements are starting to be discredited. I just want to see a day where everyone comes together, do what needs to be done for ourselves and for the better. Put aside our differences and put aside our arrogance. Rise up, speak out, and use our voice. It is time to take a stance, but with the right intentions. Not just because it's trending or because you want mentions, but because it's time to make a change and lives are at stake, and imagine together all the change we can make. As of now, the country's on a downhill spiral. People are divided and millions are in denial. Citizens in fear and worry about their survival, and all these Karen videos on the web going viral. This November, it's going to keep getting worse. Whatever way the election goes, people will revolt. Either way, just know it is important to vote, and we have to come together and keep our hope. If you asked me a year ago if I'd be doing this, I probably wouldn't know the answer. But seeing the police brutality, seeing all these fatalities, seeing all these protests, seeing the country at unrest, seeing the system as a failure, we need justice for Breonna Taylor. Seeing that I need to use my voice, seeing that I didn't have a choice, seeing that I need to join this fight, seeing that I need to do what's right, then I knew the answer, and that's why I'm here.
That was amazing. Young leaders like Talia and Shakir and our Youth Making Change Board truly gives us hope. And I'm proud as a Santa Barbara Unified School District board member to also know that Talia and Shakir are part of our district. And thank you so much for your work. Now for the fun stuff, our cash auction. As you know, the fund could not do its important progressive social change work without the support of donors like you.
Leading our cash auction today, as she's done many years before, is my favorite tennis player and our very own Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, and my friend and former boss, Fund for Santa Barbara Executive Director, Marcos Vargas.
All righty. Well, thank you, Gary and Wendy, and thank you all. Well, Hannah Beth, we're up. So here, as was said, here's the fun stuff. So now we get to to engage you in how you can be generous to the Fund for Santa Barbara. But before we start, Hannabeth, thank you so much for being here today and for all your hard work representing us, the Central Coast, in the Senate. I know that going into the late hours of the night, you've been working fiercely to represent us and making sure you're addressing issues of worker rights and the environment. And just thank you so much for all your work. We look forward to your next phase of your life. We know that we'll be seeing you around very active, I'm sure.
Well, I suspect so, and I will miss being the senator doing this auction, but I am for tonight. So good evening, everyone. I hope that you have taken happy hour seriously, because we want you now to contribute to this outstanding organization. We are here at QAD. You are at home. Hopefully you're, in your slippers maybe, but nonetheless, this is an organization that deserves your consideration. They are 40 years young today. I say that as someone who's way over 40 myself. 40 years young and been doing great work for the people of this community, progressive social change, things that couldn't have happened and didn't happen before groups like the Fund for Santa Barbara came into being, because they do great work when it comes to advocacy for progressive causes, critically important here in our town where we share those values. So tonight, of course, hopefully you've also been contributing to various ballot measures and candidates that you support, but we hope that you still have enough of those dollars left to keep this great organization at the forefront of social change within our own community. Whether you've supported Prop 15, Schools and Communities First. I know for a fact that many of us have not been able to spend, if we've been so lucky to have those discretionary dollars, no trips, not a whole lot of eating out. I know in my house I've been doing a lot of cooking, and my husband is still with me, so thank you, George. But there is extra money in those pockets, hopefully, for those of us who have been lucky enough to be able to keep working and keep bringing in income, so that we can perhaps help those who haven't been as fortunate as we have. So now is our opportunity to really push for the kind of progressive social change and values that we all share, certainly in this most difficult time, when getting our progressive values out there and assuring that the world will be a better place is even at greater challenge than ever before. Marcos, do you want to explain to folks how this is going to work tonight? Okay. No paddles, so how are we going to do this?
No paddles, so we're doing this all remotely. So all of you are seeing two buttons, a black button and a green button. You can pick the black button if for any amount that you'd like to give, and we already have some donations coming in. Right. Julie Nickelberry and others coming in. Paul, Margie Clark, thank you so much. So we haven't even started, but we're already starting. So again, you have those two buttons. Go ahead and push the one that says the amount that's currently up, or another amount. It's that simple. Also want to encourage you, if you're working all in a viewing party together, and there's only one laptop, I encourage you to pull out your personal device and go ahead and register so that you can participate directly in the cash auction. So, and again, I want to let you know that we also accept stock gifts. Believe it or not, Hannabeth, our goal today is $40,000. So I think we could do it. What do you think, Hannabeth?
Oh, I think for sure we can do it. And why don't we get started?
Okay, again, that's $40,000 because this is the 40th anniversary of the Fund for Santa Barbara.
All right, very doable amount. Let's get started. Let's see if anyone's been drinking some wine, checking their stock portfolio, feeling pretty good tonight. Anybody out there, maybe let's start at $10,000. Can we get a $10,000 gift? Anybody out there wanting to do $10,000? All right, it might have been a little bit greedy. How about $7,500? Do we have anybody for $7,500?
Yes, we have a $7,500 donation. Thank you so much, Linda and Dennis Fenton.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else want to come in? We can't let Linda and Dennis, shine over other people who might be thinking about doing that.
$7,500 will certainly go a long way in supporting community organizing and advocacy in our community. So certainly $7,500 would be a great donation. That said, we're still receiving other donations from folks.
Great, great. Well, let's, all right, we've got one at $7,500. Think about it if you're able to make that contribution, but now we're going to bring it down to $5,000. Do we have anybody at $5,000? $5,000? All right.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And I'm straining my eyes to see this a bit, but I do believe we have John and Gloria McManus.
Oh, thank you, John and Gloria. Yeah. Woo, woo, woo.
And thank you, Aaron Jones and Sarah Jacobs as well, who's also given at different levels, but not at the $5,000, but they're coming in as well.
All right, we got 1 of 5. How about the Davidsons? Do I see that down there?
Yes, Jim and Sheila Davidson are for $5,000.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. Okay, anybody else want to match at $5,000? We're getting to our goal, $40,000 to help make social change in Santa Barbara a reality, to continue working for these causes that in today's world in particular are so important, so critical we do that. We've got a youth program as well that is designed to help create that leadership and philanthropic giving that we need to see with our young people coming up, because this is a world we're leaving them and we got to do better. So
we have this amazing program, as you know, Youth Making Change. So come on, support the youth, and we're getting some other donations here.
All right, we've got that $5,000 from the Davidsons. How about $2,500? Can we get to $2,500?
$2,500.
Ted Rhodes, do we have Ted Rhodes here? Ted has been a great supporter of environmental causes in particular.
Yes, Ted has come in at $2,500.
All right, awesome. Anybody else at $2,500? Let's stay at $2,500. Think of that trip you were thinking of taking, or perhaps you were going to be going out to fancy restaurants and are still going, but only once a month instead of once a week. There's money that you've saved there. How about another $2,500?
We have David Landecker at $2,500.
David Landecker, thank you, David. $2,500. Anybody else? Anybody else at $2,500?
Sarah Miller McCune at $4,000.
$4,000. Thank you, Sarah. Awesome. Anybody else?
Kate Silsbury at $2,500.
Thank you
so much, Kate.
All right. Go, Kate. Go Gauchos, Kate. All right. Who else? Anybody else at $2,500?
We have a lot of donations coming in, and keep on coming in at
whatever
level.
you can afford.
Dan Fugino, thank you so much, Dan Fugino, at $250.
All right. Well, we are at $2,500. Anybody, listen, we'll accept it if you want to wait another minute, but let's go ahead, go down to $1,000. Anybody at $1,000? This is starting to, come on, folks, have a little more wine.
$1,000 helps us help other organizations get the vote out, not only in this election, but every election, to make sure that our people are heard in our state capitol and in Congress. So again, every donation. Dick Flax has come out at $250. We have a pledge. Mike Weaver at $1,500. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. The paddles, by the way, are easier, but all you have to do at home is push a button.
Lee Heller, thank you so much, $1,000.
Lee Heller.
Randy Rivera as well at $100.
All right, keep pushing those buttons. We have, do we have John Steed? Did we mention John?
John as well, and Susan Case, thank you so much.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
$1,000.
Woo!
Susan Rose, $1,000. Thank you so much, Susan.
Fantastic. Remember, social justice, a critical component in this very challenging world in which we live today. This organization leads. This organization is creating the farm team for the future when it comes to social justice and our values. So if we can get you to put in another $1,000, or if you haven't put in any money yet, we'll take your contribution. Let's go down to $500.
Hazel Davilos, thank you so much for your contribution.
All right, Hazel. How about the $500 level?
Hank Flax at $100 as well. They're coming in at different
All
levels.
right,
So
whatever
you,
you can, but let's see, any $500 contributions, any $500. Do we have $500 here? We have Charles Hale at $1,000. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along
Keep
here.
on coming. Jeff Green, $500.
Jeff, go Jeff.
I know Jeff.
Yeah, do we know Jeff?
Yes, we know Jeff.
Of course we know Jeff. All right.
Mahill.
Mahill.
Thank you so much, $500.
Pam Maines,
$500.
And let's see, we've got any more at $500? Anybody else at $500?
Charles Hale. Thank you so much, $1,000. Thank you, Charlie.
Charles. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. $500. How about $250? Anybody at $250? If you want to do more, we'll take that. But at $250, anybody at $250? Some of our younger folks, can you put in $250 to help with the cause and with your future? Or if you're an older folk like me, let's make those contributions so that we can help the next generation. Anybody else at $250? $250. We've got Seth Streeter, $500. Yes, Seth.
Thank you,
All
Seth.
right. How about any amount now? $100, $50 for our younger folks. We've got 30 seconds left.
Or
Make
not,
that
or not so
contribution.
young folks too. $50 from
Remember,
from
we'll
anybody.
take stock. The stock market is out totally off the rails. Put your stock in at this overpriced level now. Who knows what tomorrow's going to be, but we'll take stock as well. And of course, we are running out of time, but we'll still take your money, will we not?
Okay, so yes, we're out of time now, but don't worry. If some of you were shy or just didn't have your credit card nearby or would like to donate later, you can donate till 7 o'clock on this platform. And then over the weekend, you can donate by going on to the fund's website, fundforsantabarbara.org. You can, and actually till October 15th, and your donation will still be accounted for this campaign. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Hannabeth.
Thank you. Well
Good
done.
to see you.
Well done. All right.
Stay safe, everybody.
Be safe.
Whew. Whew. Take, I get that hair right. How exciting. My hair was just standing up and I had to keep putting it down. Thank you so much for all the wonderful donations that are coming in. It's such an awesome place to be. So certainly, thank you, Hannabeth and Marcos, of course, to each and every one of you joining us. Thank you so much for your generous support of our work together. Again, as Marcos said, you can still make donations for the rest of the program and throughout the weekend.
And thanks to our individual sponsors for stepping up and supporting the fund. You can find a complete list of all the individual sponsors in your program. You can also see all the sponsors in the program, but I want to highlight a few special ones. Special thanks to our top sponsors in the corporate category. This would be Hutton Parker Foundation, the Santa Barbara Independent, QAD, Cage Free Productions, Santa Barbara Foundation, Cox, West Beach Film Productions, KCRW, Mission Wealth, and UFCW 770. And then I do want to highlight something that's in your program, and that is that there is a While You Watch insert that also mentions keep your glass full. On both sides of these are listed our food and beverage sponsors. And this is a handy little thing that you can keep on your refrigerator that has phone numbers and websites of all of the progressive organizations that help feed and help us enjoy our libations. And please support them as best you can. So Au Bon Climat, Buttonwood, Institution Ale Company, Municipal Winemakers, Fiddlehead Cellars, Flying Goat Cellars, and Sea Grape. And then as far as food, we have from the North County, we have The Garden, Charcuterie D, and Fromagerie. And then from the Mid-County, we have one of my favorites, Industrial Eats. And then from South County, we have The Lark, Lokita, Opal, and Via Maestra 42. Go ahead.
Now I'm excited to introduce the world-renowned actor and longtime fierce progressive activist Jane Fonda. Jane will be presenting the second annual Nancy Alexander Award. And for those of you who weren't at last year's event, this award is named in honor of our founder who received the award last year and who is watching us online now.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Take it away, Jane.
Hi, everybody. I can't quite hear the program, but I hope it's okay for me to start talking. Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and I am honored and happy to be with you today for the 27th annual Bread and Roses Community Celebration. Wow. 2020 marks 40 bold years of the Fund for Santa Barbara's work, and I know you're going to agree when I say that the work has never been more necessary. So stay strong and stay safe and stay hopeful. I'm also so honored today to be presenting this year's Fund for Santa Barbara Nancy Alexander Founders Award posthumously to my just fantastic friend, the amazing activist and organizer, Mickey Flax. I got to know Mickey and Dick Flax when I was married to Tom Hayden. The Flaxes and Tom had become friends around the time of the creation of Students for a Democratic Society, when Dick and Mickey lived in Chicago, I believe. And in the 70s, Tom and I started the Laurel Springs Children's Camp at the top of the San Marcos Pass. And sometimes we drive down to have dinner with Dick and Mickey and talk. Oh boy, deep thinkers on the left. Boy, did they have a lot to talk about. And I just learned so much being a fly on the wall. I'll always be grateful for that. Dick and Mickey, they settled in Santa Barbara in 1969. True to her values, Mickey quickly became engaged in the political and cultural ferment of the aftermath of the 60s, the Santa Barbara oil spill, and the explosion of growth in the 70s. During this time, Mickey helped found the first environmental election coalition in town, the Citizens Coalition, and thereafter was a mainstay in many of the election campaigns that transformed Santa Barbara's politics. She served on the boards of the Environmental Defense Center, yay, and Citizens Planning Association, and helped found Santa Barbara Community Action Network, SBCAN. A strong, smart political activist. Mickey also served on the Central Committee of the Santa Barbara Democratic Party and the board of the Santa Barbara Women's Political Committee. She served on the first County Affirmative Action Commission and as a board member and chair of the ACLU chapter. An inspiring figure in the Jewish community, Mickey served on the board of Hillel and the Jewish Federation, helping to found the Santa Barbara Jewish Secular Humanist Society. In recent decades, she devoted major energy to efforts to alleviate the housing crisis in that region, including chairing the County Housing Authority while also playing an important leadership role in grassroots housing justice efforts by groups such as Santa Barbara for All and the Coastal Housing Coalition. While deeply frustrated by society's failure to treat housing as a basic human need and right rather than a commodity, Mickey never wavered in her commitment to activist work around these and other important social justice issues. Seeing her organizing and advocacy work as important steps in a broader long-term housing justice movement, close to her passing, Mickey shared her personal pride in the numerous affordable housing projects and innovative zoning policies she worked so hard to bring about. Any community that has a Mickey Flax in it will be a good place to live because she was a true movement leader who knew how to build coalitions. And she will always serve as an inspiration and role model for social change activists of all generations here in Santa Barbara and in Los Angeles. I think it's so appropriate that the fund's Nancy Alexander Founders Award is being given to Mickey. Nancy Alexander, the founder of the fund, is much like Mickey, a strong progressive woman and community activist. 40 years ago, Nancy had the vision to create a progressive community foundation to support the movements for social, political, economic, and environmental justice here in Santa Barbara County. Earlier in the program, we were inspired by the presentation of the fund's Firebrand Award to two young activists, Shakir Ahmad and Talia Hamilton, two young Black Lives Matter high school student organizers who are part of a new generation of progressive social change agents in the same mold as our friend Mickey. You know, there was a time when I was way younger when I thought that creating social change was a sprint. And then with more experience, I found it to be more of a marathon. Change takes time. You have to pace yourself. Endurance and perseverance are critical. Now that I'm seriously old, I realize that social change is a relay. And that's what this event today shows. At one end, there's Mickey and all she stood for and how the torch has been passed to this new generation of young activists, youth activists. And aren't we grateful that we have them here, ready, willing, and able to engage in loads of good trouble. Accepting this award today on Mickey's behalf is Mickey's loving husband and longtime deep co-conspirator, Dr. Dick Flax. Please welcome Dick Flax.
I know Mickey would be deeply touched, gratified, honored that Jane Fonda was able to be here to present to Mickey this recognition. And of course, speaking for the Flax family as a whole, we're also profoundly touched and honored by that and by the fund's recognition of Mickey's life and work. When she was about 8 or 9 years old, she remembers the fact that her mother had organized a tenants union in her apartment building, 54 families, and Mickey was assigned by her mother to go to door and shout out, "Important message from the tenants union." And when they opened the door, she'd ask them for their dues, which probably was like a quarter or 50 cents a month. She thought this was rather arduous as a burden for herself as a child, and yet it deeply imprinted in her a sense of duty, a sense of commitment to social justice. And to a very great extent, her life's work and life's experience was organized around that kind of perspective, that kind of goal, that kind of meaning. And it's fitting to remember that her concern about justice started with and often centered around housing-related issues. For the past few years, Mickey's been one of the leading advocates in this region for housing affordability, for a decent place for everyone to live in this coastal area, for tenants' rights and empowerment. These were things she was deeply concerned with and in many ways pioneered for the rest of us, a concern for what she called social housing. We are pleased as a family to help the fund initiate an ongoing project called the Mickey Flax Social Housing Fund, which we think of as a mechanism for creating a pool of resources for people who are going to be organizing in behalf of tenants, in behalf of co-op housing, which was one of her deep passions, for a place for all to live, a decent home for all of us, something we all need and in these times desperately long for. So thank you again, Fund and Jane.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Dick. In honor of Mickey, I'm also very pleased to announce that the fund has established a social housing fund to support housing justice efforts in the region. You'll be hearing more about this in the coming weeks, and I hope you will all contribute to this important effort. Thank you for all your support for the Fund for Santa Barbara and its social change work here along the Central Coast. I hope you enjoy the rest of today's program. Please be well, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Let's do all we can this November to save our democracy and bring about the change we so desperately need. We're going to do this. And if we succeed, remember that the day after the election, we'll need to roll up our sleeves and make sure that the people we elect do what we need them to do, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt back in the 1930s during the Great Depression didn't just create millions of union jobs, Social Security, all the rest of what was part of the New Deal. People in the streets made him do it. They demanded it, and he said to them, I agree with you, now go out and make me do it. Are you ready? The multiple crises we face today are more than on a par with the desperation of the 30s, and boy, are we going to have to make him do it. Stay safe. I'm so glad I could join you.
Thank you, Jane and Dick, for allowing us to honor our good friend and remarkable social change activist, Nikki Flax. Clearly, her social change work continues to inspire our community to address the critical issues of affordable housing in our county. We also look forward to the development of the Social Housing Fund, which the fund has established in Mickey's honor. Gary?
Yeah. Our next guest is deeply respected by all of us who work, fight, and most importantly, organize for social justice. She is the co-founder of United Farm Workers, a tireless social justice trailblazer, and one of the most influential labor activists of our time. It is my great honor to welcome Dolores Huerta.
Hello, everybody. I am so happy to join you on this wonderful Bread and Roses celebration for the Fund for Santa Barbara. And congratulations on your 40 years of great work, always supporting the grassroots organizations and doing the important work that you have been doing for so many years for social and racial justice. I know that we have been living in such a terrible time right now. I think a lot of us are thinking, when is 2020 going to get over? You know, with all of the people that have died, the loss of lives, people that have gotten sick, especially our communities of color that have been hit so hard. But the one thing that we do know is that when all of these things that are so terrible have happened, there's a saying in Spanish that says, no hay nada mal que algo bien no salga. There's nothing so bad that nothing good will come out of it. So something good will come out of this one. And of course, we know that we lost Congressman John Lewis, but we can continue to follow his trail. He kind of paved the way for us. And then, so it makes it a little bit easier for us to follow his trail for racial justice and of course, for voting rights. And then, of course, the great loss of our great justice, Ruth Ginsburg Ginsburg. You know, what a loss that is. But again, we have to continue to fight for her, for all of the social justice values that she ruled on the court and made possible, especially for so many women. So when we think of all of these issues that we are fighting for right now, we know that one of the only ways that we can really do this is when we have people that are vested and organized in places where they can get the information, where they can come together collectively and do the work that needs to be done so that we can really make sure that we get gender justice, racial justice, economic justice, and of course, we can't forget about the global warming and the climate change that is happening right now. And I was so happy to see that Jane Fonda was with us, who has been the real champion with her Fire Drill Fridays that she has had. Now, where over 2 million people have been involved in those Fire Drill Fridays. And of course, we all have to get her new book, which she has just published, to help all of us understand why it's important for us to get involved. And of course, if she didn't say this, I'm going to say it for her. All of the proceeds will be going to Greenpeace from Jane Fonda's book. So we want to thank her and all of the champions for social justice that are out there right now. And when we think of the election that we're up against right now, and we see that we have so many of these super millionaires, these mega millionaires that are out there spending so much money to deceive the public on issues like on education. We know that in California, we're now number 39 in terms of the money that we spend for each student in our schools. Well, guess what? Proposition 15, when we support it, will actually bring in $12 billion into our communities for our schools and also for our communities. And so this is money that we need. We have other important propositions too, like Proposition 21, that will actually allow local communities to pass an ordinance so that we can have rent control, so that we can do something about stopping the homelessness of our communities. And there's other important propositions on there. You know, we voted for racial and criminal justice. And some of those propositions that we voted on and we won, the public voted on, are now trying to be overturned. And so we have to be cognizant of those and be sure that we vote no on some of those. I think it's Proposition 20 that is trying to overturn what people voted on, so that so many people, we do not need them in prison. We need them in their homes and with their families. And then we have another one. I'm going to throw this in there because people will get confused about this. And that's Proposition 24. And Proposition 24 is very deceiving, like the rest of them, because it makes it look like we're going to be have our privacy rights protected, and it's just the opposite. Okay, so be very, very cautious on these propositions that I'm talking about. But, you know, the Fund for Santa Barbara, you have been so wonderful in terms of supporting all of these organizations out there that give the people in the community empowerment. And this is what we're talking about, because when people are empowered, then they can take the necessary actions that they need to take to make sure that our communities are protected. And when we see the things that are kind of spiraling out of control in our country, and we think, how can we stop this? The news about the governor of Michigan being that there was a plan to kidnap her. Oh my God, how terrible can things get? So we know when we're fighting to empower our communities, we're also fighting for democracy. This is what it's all about. It's about having people engaged. And it is only organization foundations like the Fund for Santa Barbara that are making it possible so that ordinary people in our communities can take the power, can take the actions that we need to keep our democracy safe. And that's why I am very happy to be here with all of you and asking you, please continue to support the Fund for California, for Santa Barbara, the Fund for Santa Barbara, because you are the ones that are going to make it possible for this great work to continue, and that we can fight all of these injustices, all of these challenges that we're living in today. The one thing that I have learned in all my years of organizing is that when we get together, we can really make improvements not only in our communities, but make improvements in our own lives. And altogether, we can do this with the help from the Fund for Santa Barbara. So I want to say a big old viva for the Fund for Santa Barbara and ask all of you, please continue to contribute. Please continue to support the Fund for Santa Barbara, because we do need this organization desperately, desperately right now. With all of the things that we're fighting for healthcare, for education, for, again, fighting global warming, again, joining Jane in her pursuit of that. And we have to have that faith that we can actually make it happen. So muchas gracias. Thank you very much for having me. Adelante con el programa. Let's go forward with this great program. Let's go forward with the great work of the Fund for Santa Barbara. Sí se puede with the Fund for Santa Barbara. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dolores. Your words and your action are always an inspiration. And thank you all for joining us today for this year's Bread and Roses celebration of the Fund for Santa Barbara's 40th anniversary. That is 40 years of working to advance progressive social change by supporting grassroots organizations working to address the root causes of social problems. 40 years of working to build progressive movements for social, economic, environmental, and political change. 40 years of carrying out our vision for a just, equitable, and environmentally healthy region. When the fund was formed in 1980, who would have predicted that today we would be living in a global pandemic, one that's taken the lives of over 1 million people worldwide? That we would be witnessing a massive racial uprising in our streets, resulting from the continued murder of Black men and women by law enforcement. That we would be seeing the rise in white nationalism promoted from the highest level of our government. That we would be experiencing here in our communities the beginnings of a global climate disaster. And who would believe that at this time, the most powerful nation in the world would be facing its most greatest political crisis since its formation? Yet here we are, facing multiple crises deeply rooted in long-standing forms of systemic oppression. And just as it's been for the last 40 years, the fund was made for this moment, an organization dedicated to the ongoing struggle for justice, equity, and the protection of our environment. an organization with a global consciousness, yet which works to build grassroots power to affect change from the local to the global. You see, so many of our communities have been in crisis for quite a while. A crisis of homelessness, of poverty, of environmental injustice, and racism. And this is why the Fund focuses our social change work on building community-based, grassroots power of people and helping to link local efforts to larger movements at the regional, state, national, and global level. You see, the Fund has always been about people power. Therefore, today we're asking all of us not only to continue our work for change, but to significantly step up our social change work and embrace it as part of our personal responsibility as global citizens. The Fund asks that we not only vote our social values, our social justice values in this election, but that we work to organize others to do the same, keeping in mind the most vulnerable and voiceless in our community. Especially in this time of crisis, the Fund asks that we use all our limited human and financial resources to support movement organizations much like those funded by the Fund for Santa Barbara. Organizations working on issues from racial justice and worker rights to affordable housing and environmental justice, immigrant rights, LGBTQ rights, and of course, women's health and reproductive rights. The Fund also asks that we engage in the hard conversations about the destructive effects of racism and patriarchy and how we can transform society and ourselves. In many ways, it's taken a pandemic to wake us up. Now we must stay woke, continue to learn, and most importantly, take action. Action that may start with an individual or a small group, but which is connected to the power of larger growing movements for progressive social change. I want to extend my deep appreciation to the many activists, community organizers, donors, and volunteers that make up the Fund. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the Fund board, our staff, our grant-making committee, and our youth-making change board. Together, these folks and all of you are part of a growing people's movement for progressive social change. United, we will always prevail. Si se puede.
This year, we experienced the loss of several important progressive leaders, both here in Santa Barbara County and nationally. Helping us today in expressing our appreciation for these incredible leaders is Grammy-nominated vocalist and all-around amazing talent, Perla Batalha. Take it away.
Thank you, Wendy and Gary. What an amazing evening. Honored to join you celebrating 40 years of Fund's social change work, especially joining this incredible program with two such powerful progressive leaders, Dolores Huerta and Jane Fonda. And what inspiring words from Shakir and Thalia. As we come together to celebrate the work of the Fund and these incredible leaders, we know that we stand on the shoulders of giants. To all our leaders who have passed on this year, Congressman John Lewis, our own Mickey Flax, my friend and cultural warrior Javier Montes, and of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I dedicate this song to you.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome one day. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are are not afraid today. Love will set us free. Love will set us free. Love will set us free one day. Deep in my heart, I do believe that love will set us free one day. We'll sing hand in hand. We'll sing hand in hand. We'll sing hand in hand one day. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we'll sing hand in hand one day. We will live in peace. We will live in peace. We will live in peace one day. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we will live in peace one day. Yes, we will live in peace one day.
How moving, and indeed we shall overcome. And let's start as we do today. The inspiring words that we've heard, remembering leaders, inspiring us to go on. We shall overcome, and we're going to start today. That truly was amazing. Thank you, Perla. What a fine tribute to these remarkable leaders. Thank you. We look forward to the time soon when we can see you live in concert. What a way to top off this year's Bread and Roses.
Indeed, but we're not done yet.
No?
We are not done yet, Wendy.
We're still live?
I think we actually have an encore from Perla.
Oh.
And we still have the prize to give away.
Oh, all right.
So, folks, get your programs handy or Google. Or your
checks.
And your checks and your virtual wallet. You could win a beautiful 40 Years Bold poster framed and created by my dear friend Jenny Van Setters, who has also signed it. So in order to win this, you have to be the first person to put in the chat box the answer to the following question. And there's a hint. The answer can be found in your program, or like I said, on the internet. And sorry, current executive directors and the former Fund for Santa Barbara executive directors are not eligible to win this prize. So here's the question. What was the start date of the textile workers' strike in Lawrence, Massachusetts that inspired Bread and Roses?
I know.
No, you're not eligible.
Oh, come on, Gary.
Hint, there's this page right here. History of Bread and Roses has the answer. Full date. We need the full date. We need the month, the day, and the year. Nora Dunbar. Woo! Winner! Congratulations, Nora. Yes. Fantastic. So many thanks to everyone who supported Bread and Roses this year. We really appreciate your support. We cannot do the work without it. And I have a special thank you for my co-chair, Wendy Sims Moten here. Thank you for being such a great doubles partner.
Yes, one day we will actually get to be doubles partners on the court. But
Absolutely.
For now, I'll take this. Yeah, this has been amazing this year, and this event here today, and we've had to do it in the midst of change that has changed this entire world. But to be able to connect and still have that connection of spirit and making sure that we have social justice that's going on, it's amazing to be here, and I'm grateful to be here. And it's especially, and Gary, thank you for reminding us that many opportunities to stay connected year-round to the fund, and our many progressive grassroots social justice organizations supported by the fund. And while I know I'm preaching to the choir about this, after singing a choir actually, if you haven't done so yet, please make sure you vote and urge others to do the same. As you probably already know, there are several progressive voter guides available, including the fund's ballot measure endorsements. You can find them in your program.
Right here.
She's got that right there. That's that double partner. You sing and you do it. More than ever, it's our duty to get folks out to the polls and make sure they vote their values. Gary, I hear there's an after party after this party that we've had.
There sure is.
Right.
Before we go any further, I have a special announcement. Marcos informed me that our goal was $40,000 for the cash auction, and actually we raised $60,000. So congrats!
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
But before we hand it off to DJ Suze for the after party, it wouldn't be a proper end to Bread and Roses without enjoying the sunset together. And who better to help us enjoy the sunset than Perla Batalla with her beautiful version of Gracias a la Vida. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Shall we go?
Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio dos luceros y cuando los abro, perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado y en las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario, con las palabras que pienso y declaro, madre, amigo, hermano y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma del que estoy llamando. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio el corazón que agita su marco cuando miro el fruto del cerebro humano, cuando miro el bueno tan lejos del malo, cuando miro el fondo de tus ojos claros. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la risa, me ha dado el llanto, así yo distingo dicha de quebranto, los dos materiales que forman mi canto. es mi propio canto.
Good evening. My name is DJ Suits. Thank you to the Fund for Santa Barbara for having me here tonight. I hope you guys have been enjoying your night.